The Ohio State Buckeyes have been going crazy in the transfer portal. They have managed to pick up multiple five-star players from Alabama. They picked up Caleb Downs, who was a freshman All-American who led Alabama in tackles this past season. And he's an incredible pickup in the secondary for Ohio State. But they also picked up five-star quarterback Julian Sayin from Alabama. And Julian Sayin was committed to Alabama, and he did enroll at Alabama on January 10th. But he then had no choice but to enter the transfer portal after Nick Saban retired. And he was the highest rated quarterback in the transfer portal, and Ohio State managed to pick up a future quarterback that is getting comparisons to Michigan quarterback J.J. McCarthy. So that is big news if you're an Ohio State fan. But they also picked up Quinshon Judkins, former Ole Miss running back who was a two-time first-team All-SEC player, and he is one of the better running backs in the country. And the last notable name that they picked up in the transfer portal was quarterback Will Howard, a guy that a lot of people have questions about, and a guy that I'm assuming will start next season. Will Howard did not have crazy stats, but he could be an underrated addition at quarterback, and he is an early Heisman favorite. But on top of all the transfers Ohio State has picked up, they also managed to bring back a bunch of guys that were eligible for the draft. Just a few names to mention, but they brought back wide receiver Emeka Egbuka, running back TreVeyon Henderson, and cornerback Denzel Burke. They did lose Marvin Harrison Jr., but it was crazy all the talent they managed to bring back. And they should be a really good team again, but there's still a question on if the talent is good enough to beat Michigan. Because Ryan Day and Ohio State have now lost 3 straight to Michigan. And it's already embarrassing losing 3 straight to your rival. But if they manage to lose to Michigan again, even with all the talent they're returning and the talent that they are bringing in, then that would be more atrocious and very embarrassing for this Ohio State program as a whole. Because the standard is set very high for Ohio State football. And Ryan Day may just be in the hot seat. But I wanted to talk more further in detail with this Ohio State program today, and I wanted to talk about their future heading into next season. But here's a reminder to like the video, and if you're new to the channel, then subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. And if you guys love college football, then you will love this channel, because we upload daily college football content, and we basically cover everything on this channel, so definitely consider supporting the channel by subscribing. But let's get back into this video. As most of you probably know, the Big Ten will be expanding to 18 teams next season, with Oregon, USC, Washington, and UCLA joining. It's going to be a new look conference, and Michigan is losing a bunch of talent, including J.J. McCarthy and Blake Corum. But there's also a possibility that they will lose head coach Jim Harbaugh, and it's starting to look very likely. And honestly, this may just set up perfectly for Ohio State to finally beat Michigan, as they do have that game at home, but they could also possibly win the Big Ten. This may be the Ohio State team to get the job done. I already talked about the players that are returning. But let's talk about that 1-2 punch that Ohio State will have at running back between TreVeyon Henderson and Quinshon Judkins. I'm actually interested to see who the starter will be next year, because you could consider them both elite running backs. And those two legitimately might be the best group of running backs in the country. Judkins and Henderson combined for over 2,000 yards and 26 touchdowns while averaging a combined 5.3 yards per carry. Both are very physical running backs, and both are among the best running backs in the country, and now they are on the same team, and we could see a situation where they end up splitting reps. But have fun stopping that Ohio State rushing attack. At the quarterback position, we may see a battle between Will Howard and 2 freshmen, Aaron Noland and Julian Sayin, who were really highly recruited prospects. I assume the player with more experience in Will Howard will start, but if he disappoints, then maybe we see Aaron Noland or Julian Sayin hit the field. It will be very interesting to see. And we could end up seeing Aaron Noland transferring out because of the competition at quarterback. But right now, the future of Ohio State at quarterback is looking very good. Ohio State should also be loaded at the receiver spot next year with Egbuka back, but also with other guys like Carnell Tate and Brandon Ennis, who both have potential to be elite receivers. But I guess I should also mention that they will have one of the most hyped up receivers out of high school in a while, Jeremiah Smith, who has a rating of 101 by 24/7 Sports. In 24/7 Sports, that Jeremiah Smith could potentially be the first pick in the 2027 or the 2028 NFL Draft. And that's just how good this kid is. So I don't know if he will see the field right away, but I wouldn't be surprised, even with how loaded Ohio State will be at the receiving spot. But if you guys feel like I'm missing something, just let me know down in the comments below. I'm not an Ohio State insider, and I don't know everything, but I'm just your average college football fan trying to learn as much as I can, and I wanted to talk about this Ohio State team. And this is a team that is going to be very interesting, and it's a team to watch out for. And this may be a very overlooked Ohio State team. Last season, I thought Ohio State's offense held them back, but it was mainly because of a pretty average offensive line and pretty average quarterback. But they should have success running the ball next season, but we are going to need to see Will Howard show his skills at quarterback and be a lot better than Kyle McCord. And on the topic of the offensive line, I expect to see that part of the team improve, because they have some returning players, and they should be able to move some of their guys around, and having 2 elite running backs should make it easier, but the offensive line may still be somewhat of an issue. On the defensive line, they got many good edge rushers returning. They got guys like Jack Sawyer and JT up front. They're returning a bunch of star players on defense, and the defense should be very good again, and the secondary should be able to shut down good receiving cores, and it might be the best in the country with Denzel Burke and Caleb Downs, who are both future NFL starters and potential first-round draft picks. All around, there might not be another team with as much talent as Ohio State, other than Georgia, but like the title of the video says, the question that everybody will be asking is if they will finally get the job done and beat Michigan. And for that to happen, we need to see Ryan Day evolve and learn from his mistakes. We need to see Ryan Day play to win, and we don't want to see Ryan Day play not to lose. We have to see Ryan Day attack the weaknesses of Michigan, something that I feel this Ohio State team has struggled with. Michigan has completely controlled the game the last couple times these teams played, and Ryan Day needs to stop worrying about what he needs to do not to lose, but worry about what you need to do to win the big game. There's a difference between playing not to lose and playing to win, and all I'm saying is Ohio State needs to be more aggressive or nothing will change. But everything is set up perfectly for them. Michigan is losing a lot. Ohio State is getting a lot. And Ohio State has a lot of positives going forward, and they have this game at home. Ohio State has struggled up front against Michigan. They gave up many sacks against that Michigan defense when they played them this past season. And Michigan was just the tougher team, and they took that game away in the second half. And that's kind of a reoccurring theme that Ryan Day has had playing Michigan, and they need to play a four-quarter game if they do want to win. But Ohio State is returning a lot of guys at the line of scrimmage, and maybe they will control that part of the game. But I honestly could see them beating Michigan this time around, and I really do think it's long overdue for Ohio State to finally beat Michigan. I mean, maybe this Ohio State team feels like they get too much pressure and hate put on them, but at the end of the day, that's what's going to happen when you have been a top 5 program in college football for a long time, and Ohio State is among the best teams in college football history, so losing to your rival 3 times in a row definitely isn't a good look. But on the other hand, nobody really talks about Kirby Smart in Georgia, because Kirby Smart is actually 1-4 against Alabama and failed to beat Nick Saban in Alabama many times, and I do not see Kirby Smart getting the same hate as Ryan Day. But on the other hand, Kirby Smart has won multiple national titles already, so you'd have to think, if Ohio State didn't have to play Michigan the last couple of years, maybe they could have had success, but the difference between Alabama versus Georgia and Michigan versus Ohio State is that Michigan versus Ohio State is a bigger rivalry and a game that is played every year. But it just makes me wonder, would Kirby Smart actually win any national championships if he played Alabama every regular season? I'm not trying to back up Ryan Day so much here, but maybe he gets too much hate. But I do think he is definitely in the hot seat. And if he loses again to Michigan, that's when I really lose any sympathy for Ryan Day and Ohio State, because there's absolutely no way Michigan should beat Ohio State next season. And I'm just going to be honest with you. If Ohio State loses to Michigan, that's going to be very embarrassing. But this Michigan team was legit this year, and Ohio State came close to beating that team. But if Ryan Day can get over the hump of losing to Michigan, then maybe Ryan Day will finally win his first national championship. This Ohio State team was 1 field goal away from beating Georgia 2 seasons ago, and they could have easily won the national title that year against TCU, but unfortunately they came up short against Georgia. I know everybody has their opinions on Ryan Day, and a lot of people think he should be fired, and maybe he should be fired, but he has still managed to keep this team near the top despite losing 3 straight to Michigan, and he lost to a Michigan team that has made the playoffs 3 years in a row. But I say give him 1 more year, because Ohio State is set up to have a perfect season with Michigan losing players and Ohio State getting better. Sometimes it just takes obstacles to get to the top. And Nick Saban did not get to the top right away, and neither did Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart definitely did not get to the top right away. But if Ryan Day loses again to Michigan, then I say absolutely, fire him. Unless Ohio State just ends up losing to Michigan, but still wins the national title. Wouldn't that be a story? But the reason I think he gets too much hate is because who are you honestly going to replace him with? Because there's no guarantee that Ohio State will be better if they hire someone else. But I am definitely giving him the benefit of the doubt, and I know a bunch of people will not agree with me, but we are all entitled to our own opinions. But their offense will need to improve in 2024, and Ryan Day will have to take a huge step in 2024 as a leader and as a head coach. And I don't know if hiring Bill O'Brien was the right choice, but he will be the new offensive coordinator, and maybe that holds Ohio State back. But me personally, I don't know much about Bill, and I do not watch the NFL, and this is really the first year I became a true passionate college football fan. And college football is definitely the best sport in the world, and nothing will change my mind about that. And that's why I'm making these videos for you guys. But the Big Ten expansion will definitely be very interesting, and I'm excited to see some upsets in the Big Ten. And an 18-team conference is going to be insane. But I'm excited to see the big-time matchups like Oregon playing Michigan in the Big House. But also Ohio State heading to Autzen Stadium to play Oregon will be a very hyped-up rematch. And of course, the national championship rematch between Washington and Michigan will be fantastic, even though they're both losing players. The West Coast to East Coast travel is going to be a very different atmosphere, but it's going to become a normal thing in college football next season and going forward. So everybody better get used to it. But I'm all in for it, and I'm all in for the big time games that we will see, and I can't wait. But anyways, that's going to do it for the video. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to like the video, but also subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. And if you guys love college football, then you will love this channel because we upload daily college football content, and we basically cover everything on this channel, so definitely consider subscribing. But that's going to do it, guys, and peace out.